We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnebhe Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha Stirairangaihi Stuštuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuho Swasti no Indro Vruddhashrabaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadato Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And the topic is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Remember this simple definition of what we are studying. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This is coined by Shankaracharya to point out clearly what the goal is. In all the Upanishads, this is the goal. There is an entity which is called as Brahman, and this is our goal, to understand what this Brahman is. When we study the Upanishads give us certain definitions about this Brahman. Almost every Upanishad you will find will talk about what is this entity called Brahman. And in all this, we will find there is one common feature. Ultimately, the Upanishad will say that you are that Brahman. Tattvamasi. Prajnanam Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. This Atma which is in me is Brahman. That is what Mandukya Upanishad has declared. And when we study this in the 7th mantra of this Upanishad, there are two words which are mentioned there, Prapancho Upashamam and Advaita. These words are supposed to be words which we should reflect upon, contemplate on these words. When we contemplate on these words, the mind gets the power, an additional power, to drop itself and go beyond the mind. This is the trick of the Upanishads. The Upanishads want us somehow or the other to drop our mind. In the waking state, all of us know how we drop our mind in the sleep state. But in that state, what happens is we are not able to realize our nature, because the sleep is basically an inert nature, tamo guna pradhana. So in the sleep state, we will never be able to realize, neither we will be able to realize our true nature in the dream state. So we have only one state in which we can analyze, reflect, drop wrong notions. Everything is possible only in the waking state. And the self-realization requires an active mind. It is not a passive mind. It is not that suddenly you just drop the mind, chitta vritti, nirodha, and then you can realize yourself. That is not. It is an active mind. You must realize that. All the steps before that is for preparation of the mind itself. One of the very important techniques which is used in the Mandukya Upanishad is they use Anubhava Pramanam. The Pramanam means a source of knowledge. Pratyaksham is one source. The eyes, the ears, they are all one source of knowledge. Inference, Anumanam, is another source of knowledge. Arthapatti is another source of knowledge. So there are Shabda Pramanam is another source of knowledge. Shabda means Shruti Shabda. The words of the Shruti, the words of the Upanishads are a Pramanam. It's a source for knowledge which normally the eyes cannot give, the ears cannot give. So whenever we talk about the Shruti, whenever we say Shruti means Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita is Smriti. Then Puranas are also there. They all deal with same topic, but they have different ways to convey the same message as the Shruti. So in this Upanishad, Anubhava is taken. Anubhava means our experience. Our day-to-day experience is taken up. And we are told to analyze our states. Our three states, waking, dream, and sleep. The teacher tells us, analyze these three states and arrive at whatever conclusion you can arrive with the help of the Upanishads. We cannot analyze our three states independently. That will be a mistake. We have to follow the logic given by the Upanishad and then use our mind to analyze. When we study the Upanishads, we should keep in mind some of the other things which we have learned also in our basic Tattvabodha lessons. And many times in different other Upanishads, we have learned about Adhyasa, that means superimposition. We must remember that. We must remember about Sajatiya Bheda, Vijatiya Bheda, Swagata Bheda, Rahita Atma. That means in Atma, in the real nature, there is no difference at all. These are the concepts of Vedanta which you should keep in mind and apply it while studying the Upanishads. One of the fundamental concepts is Adhyasa. From time to time, I will speak about this Adhyasa in my talks on this Upanishad so that it becomes more and more clear to you what the Upanishad is trying to reveal. This will be used also in my meditation sessions. I'll be using this concept called as Adhyasa. Your mind should get soaked into this concept, then the real true knowledge of Atma will reveal itself. To give you in short, the three states belong to the mind. This is the first fundamental thing. When you should understand this Upanishad, you should be very clear. I am Atma. I am of the nature of Turiyam. Turiyam means Brahman. Turiyam means Atma. Turiyam means consciousness. That is my real nature. I should never forget that this is my real nature. Wherever you are listening to this talk, whenever you are listening to this talk, this is the fundamental. I am of the nature of awareness, knowledge. Everything else in this world is inert. Our experiences are a combination of this sentiency, which is Atma, awareness, and the inert body mind. It's a combination. This is how we should understand our real nature. Step by step, you should follow how Vedanta, the science of self-realization, reveals Atma. Through the Upanishads, I should learn how to do Viveka. Viveka means discrimination between Atma and Anatma. Anatma consists of body, mind, sense organs, and the world. This is how I should slowly understand what is Atma, what is Anatma. The mind should dwell on this. If you hear it once during these sessions and you forget about it throughout the next 7 days, and then you come back to the same session next week, it is not enough. You need to soak your mind throughout the week, at least once a day. For 5 minutes, not more. Just to think, just go through your notes or listen to the talk again and let your mind dwell on this topic, this Turiyam Atma. There is something which the Upanishads are trying to reveal to me. I am of the nature of awareness. Whatever I see, which is starting from the body, mind, world, all of that is Anatma. If this is clearly understood, then you are ready for the second step, which means the mind. I am Atma. I am locationless, timeless. Two important points. The world comes to us in the time frame of in the frame of time and space. When there is no time and space, I am in my own nature. This is the second point you should note. I am timeless principle. I am locationless principle in my original nature. Once you have understood the second point, then the third point is the three states, waking, dream, and sleep, they are going or they are following a certain law, which is called as the law of karma. I am consciousness is my real nature, intrinsic nature, which means there is no change in that nature at all at any time. It is Satyam. Always I am awareness. Always I am awareness. And I get into the identification of the three states of the mind, which is relative. Waking, dream, and sleep. Waking, dream, and sleep. Waking, dream, and sleep. That is relative nature. it keeps on coming and going in a certain cycle, which is called as Prakriti, which is called as the material world. And the material world has got a law. The scriptures have said it follows the law of karma. I'm sleeping. Why do I get up? Because there is a law of karma which pushes the mind to wake up and experience the world. Why do I go back to sleep again? Again, the law of karma tells me now you have to rest. Why do I go to dream? Because there is a law of karma which says there are certain impressions which you need to get rid of from your causal body. This is the cycle. Waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep. Whenever there is, we are analyzing our real nature, it is to do with the description of Atma, which is there in the 7th mantra of this Upanishad. In several Upanishads, you will have the same knowledge given to us. When you follow the 12 Upanishads, which we normally undertake in our study, we take about 12 Upanishads. I have done one round of 12 Upanishads with another group before this. I've done 2-3 rounds like this of several Upanishads. So in all that, there is a description of Atma. And the mind has to keep learning about Atma. At the same time, discriminate the 3 states. This is the third major step. Now, what we are analyzing now in the 2nd chapter. So this is how we analyze. We analyze our real nature. We first conclude my nature is awareness, consciousness. Then I say, how do I explain my experiences? If I am of the nature of consciousness, what am I experiencing every day? If you look at our experiences, the rishis tell us that the bottom line of all our experiences is only 2, either joy or sorrow. And why do we experience? Because of the law of karma. So I have to try to understand this Sakshi Bhava. That means I am of the nature of witnessing consciousness, feel that presence more and more, and remove the error or adhyasa of taking myself as the doer of action, enjoyer of actions, and perceiver of actions. This is what I have to drop. Pramata, which is perceiver, karta, which is the doer, and enjoyer is the bhokta. So these 3 I have to drop. I have to hold on to pure chaitanya, the pure Atma. If this is our goal, there are 2 words about Atma's description which can cause some conflict in us. Those 2 words are analyzed in big detail in the 2nd chapter of the Mandukya Upanishad and the 3rd chapter. The 2nd chapter deals with Prapancho Upashamam, and the 3rd chapter deals with Advaita. These are the 2 words which are used to describe my intrinsic nature, which is Atma, pure awareness. What is my incidental nature? I am a waker, I am a dreamer, I am a sleeper. Waker, dreamer, sleeper are appearances which are coming in the Atma. Appearances are incidental. They will come and go. we will it was automatically that is why it is called as Prakriti, nature. It is the nature of 5 elements which forms this body of ours. It is the law of nature which gives us the experiences of joy and sorrow through this body. Bhagavad Gita puts this in one word. It's called as Kshetram. And the seer, the consciousness principle, the knowingness principle is called as Kshetrajna in the Bhagavad Gita. When we analyze this main mantra, I'm taking a little longer time for introduction today before we go into where we stopped last week, because I feel that understanding these concepts is very, very important, and it has a lot of relevance in the 2nd and the 3rd chapter. So Brahman means that Turiyam, which is the ultimate reality. The world is put as waking world, dream world, and the sleep world. All these 3 are categorized as mithya or appearance. A simple example of mithya means the reflection I see in a mirror. Suppose I stand in front of a mirror, I see my reflection. I cannot say that the reflection is a second entity. I cannot say that because it is only a reflection. I cannot count it as number 2. But still I see it. This is why it is called as Advaita. Advaita means I alone exist, but I see, I experience another state. Waking, dream, sleep. I experience so many things in the waking state, so many things in the dream state, and ignorance in the sleep state. So even though I experience something, I must, in my mind, I should cognitively understand that these 3 states are not to be counted as second. They are mithya. The word mithya is very, very important to understand in Vedanta. I have several times explained this. What is existent all the time is Satya, which is Atma. What is never existent is called as Asat, which is never, never existent, non-existent category. In between these 2 categories, there is something which is called as mithya, which is appearing. At the same time, it disappears. So the Jagat, the whole universe consisting of 3 worlds, waking, dream, and sleep, is put into one box called as mithya. And jivo brahmaiva na paraha. It means that I am the jiva, which is none other than that. Factually, it is none other than that pure Satya Brahman, pure consciousness, awareness principle. There are 2 words used in Sanskrit, drishtanta and darshtanta. Drishtanta means example. Darshtanta means the original topic. Now, in this Upanishad, they take the example of waking, dream, and sleep. And they say that the waking state is similar in nature to the dream state. And the dream is factually not there, but it appears. And then they conclude the waking is also similar to that. So we must be very clear when we use these examples. There are certain similarities and there are certain dissimilarities. As a student, I should hold on to the similarities and learn to drop the dissimilarities. In Sanskrit, similarity is called as sadharmyam, and dissimilarity is called as vaidharmyam. So in this example of dream, we must use this technique called as sadharmyam and vaidharmyam. What are the features when we compare the dream and sleep, the dream and waking? There are certain features which are common, and there are certain facts we must understand when we analyze the dream, because this is very, very important for the second chapter. The first thing we should note is dream is unreal. It disappears into nothing. The second thing is, it is unreal only in one avastha, which is called as jnana avastha. This is extremely important. Jnana avastha, ajnana avastha. There are two states we should be able to analyze the dream. There are two states in which we should be able to analyze the waking also. This is a very important step in Mandukya Upanishad. When you want to understand what is this waking, why does the Mandukya Upanishad say that the waking is very similar to the dream, this important step you should note. The dream is real in dream when the waker is absent. There is no waker in dream. So at that time, what happens? The dream is real. The dream, that is called as ajnana avastha. Ajnana avastha means you don't have jnanam of the real nature of the dream. And what is jnana avastha? Jnana avastha means when the dreamer wakes up, has the jnanam that he is the waker, then what happens is he knows that the dream is unreal. So unreal and reality are dependent on two avasthas, jnana avastha, ajnana avastha. In jnana avastha, the dreamer is falsified. In ajnana avastha, that means during the dream, he experiences the dream world as real. The same thing we should apply to the waking. In the waking world, 99.9% of all of us, we are ajnana avastha. We do not know what is my real nature, which is Turiya. Turiya means I can exist by myself as pure consciousness, independent of the world, because that is Satyam. Whereas the waking world is dependent on that Satyam principle, on that pure awareness principle. So in the waking, what happens is, there are two avasthas. In the ajnana avastha, I will take it as the world is real, till I have the full knowledge from the Upanishads clearly. Like the wakers, immediately he becomes, the moment he becomes a waker, the dream loses its reality. Similarly, when the waker rises in knowledge to Turiyam Brahma, to that pure awareness consciousness, what does rises means what? I have full clarity. And this clarity will only come by repeated Shravanam and Mananam. I listen more and more to the topic of Turiyam Brahma, to the topic of Atma. So in the waking state also, when I rise to the jnana avastha, then I will also conclude that Turiyam is my real nature, which the Upanishad is declaring in the 7th mantra of this Upanishad. And when I declare, when in that jnana avastha, prapancho upashamam, that means this world which I am calling as prapancha, made up of 5 elements, experienced because of the light of consciousness. At that time, when I'm awake to my own nature, which is called as Turiyam, I can call that this is unreal. The waking is as unreal as the dream. This point is very, very important. Jnana avastha condition when you have the knowledge, and ajnana avastha when you don't have the knowledge. Exactly like the dream. When I have the knowledge that I'm the waker, then the dream is falsified. When I have knowledge of the Turiyam Atma, the waking gets falsified, but it doesn't go away. Tomorrow morning again, after knowledge also, I will still experience the world because of prarabdha karma. The body is experiencing it, but in my own mind, I do not attach the same reality which I used to attach before knowledge. This is the difference of jnana. This is the benefit of the study of Mandukya Upanishad. When the Mandukya Upanishad becomes very clear to you, the reality which you attach to the world gets falsified because of the jnanam, the knowledge of Atma. The moment that pure knowledge without adhyasa, I will explain what is adhyasa a little bit more so that you're clear. When we are sleeping, we are pure consciousness, the truth, Turiyam Brahma. Everybody can easily know this awareness, pure consciousness, without the body. Mind is not there in the sleep state. Ignorance is there, but that ignorance is going away now in the waking state because I am becoming aware of my real nature. So now I am aware that I am that pure consciousness in sleep state. In sleep state, you cannot know this. But in the waking state, your mind can travel to the sleep state and remain and say, this sleep state, I'm able to drop it. This is error-free knowledge. There is no adhyasa. There is no superimposition of the body on Atma. There is no superimposition of the mind on Atma. Please understand this step very clearly. This is the adhyasa-free state. There is adhyasa means error. There is no error in what? Cognition. Error in knowing who I am. What is my real nature? So this adhyasa is not there in the sleep state. I am now aware that I am that pure consciousness. That state is nirvikalpam. That means there is no kalpa. There is no change in that state at all. It always remains the same. This is the meaning of nirvikalpam. It never changes. It is always, I am always that. I never become the one with the body. I never become one with the mind. These are all the incidental nature. I am always of the nature of, this is what is called as Vivarta Karanam. That is a technical word, but I'm just introducing to you. For those who have done Mandukya Upanishad before, you will understand this better. So I am of the nature of consciousness. It has never changed. I am now trying to understand that nature of mind as the pure awareness. There is no ignorance. Right now, while listening, I can understand that. There is no ignorance about myself. I am pure consciousness awareness. In that, there is no bheda at all. It is a state of non-difference, abheda. No difference at all, because there is no swagata bheda, there is no sajatiya bheda, there is no vijatiya bheda. There is no difference at all. There is no second consciousness. There are no attributes to the consciousness. There are no parts to that consciousness. Therefore, there are no differences. And the I alone exists and in that state as a pure state. Then what happens? Waking comes. This is where you should understand Adhyasa. In Adhyasa Bhashyam or Brahma Sutra, Shankaracharya makes this distinction very clear. The moment I wake up, what happens is, the first thing you understand on waking up is, I am. I am is the experience of all of us, because that is our real nature. Without anything, no Adhyasa. But the moment the mind is woken up because of prarabdha karma, what happens is the reflection comes of this consciousness in the mind. The first step is the adhyasa. This step is very, very important, because the moment you understand this, you will understand Turiya Atma very easily. I am is Turiya Atma, pure existence, consciousness, bliss. In my waking state, in the waking state, the mind comes up, and then immediately I make a mistake of leaving my real nature and attaching to the body and mind. First, the mind. The mind who gets woken up and says, I am the mind. Through the mind, the awareness of the body comes. I am located. I am is actually locationless, pure consciousness awareness. But the moment a body comes into play, mind is known, or what happens is locationless turiyam, locationless awareness becomes located body, located mind. Then the vyavahara starts. All transactions start. There is no transaction possible without adhyasa, without superimposition of atma and on anatma. There is no transaction possible. That is why one of the words used in this Mandukya Upanishad to describe atma is avyavaharyam. I am, when you say pure consciousness, is without any transactions. When the waking state, dream state, sleep state comes, those are all with transactions. Some transaction or the other. So the three states are with adhyasa, with superimposition. The waking state, immediately the superimposition of the mind, that means atma, the pure consciousness, is reflected on the mind. The mind becomes a knower, because the knowing principle is only with atma. Knowingness is chaitanyam. It gets reflected on the mind. And the mind comes to know I am. That means the mind gets the power to have knowledge. Then the mind transfers that to the sense organs, and the sense organs start seeing all the world. The 5 sense organs, the 5 inputs come into the mind. This is how the whole adhyasa takes place. Even in dream, the same thing happens. I get attached to the mind in dream, then I experience the dream world. In the sleep world, what happens? I get attached to the ignorance. I don't know. There is one vritti in the sleep state, which is the vritti of karana shariram. I don't know. I am ignorant of myself is a vritti. Some of the advanced texts in Vedanta, they say this vritti is karana sharira. Vritti is different than the vritti of the sukshma sharira. What is sukshma sharira vritti? You can see the difference now. What I experience as knowledge of in the waking world is a sthula sharira vritti. That means all the perceptions of the world. Sthula sharira, sthula vrittis. Sukshma vrittis is something which I experience in the dream state. And then ajnana vritti, ignorance vritti, is the causal body vritti, the subtlest of them. And Atma is beyond that. Because it is beyond that, it can know the sleep state. Everybody knows that I had a good sleep yesterday. Unless until the Sakshi was present in the sleep state as this Turiyam I, which was a witness to the sleep state, you can never say I had a good sleep. There has to be a knower, a knowing principle, chaitanya principle of the sleep state. Aware of the sleep state, which means this pure consciousness exists by itself independently. That is why in the scriptures it is called as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam exists in 3 periods of time changelessly. So the 3 states are adhyasa, and the real nature is pure Satyam, Atma. This point, if you have understood, the 2nd chapter is a walkthrough. The 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, all this will become very easy. The key word to understand is adhyasa. Superimposition. I am of the nature of consciousness is without adhyasa, without superimposition. I am a waker is with superimposition. I learn to drop the 3 states as not my real nature. I will go through this real, the 3 states as though they are real in that particular state, ajnana state. But in the jnana avastha, I will know how to negate those 3. Right now, we are in jnana avastha. I am learning to know how I can negate those 3 states because I have understood adhyasa. Sometime later on, I will take a little bit more details on this adhyasa. Maybe after maybe 3, 4 months, 6 months, I don't know when, but I will take up a few sessions on adhyasa from the adhyasa bhashyam of Brahma Sutra. I need to work on it first, put it into a class format, and this is one of my projects which I'm working on, because I find that adhyasa bhashyam of Shankaracharya in the Brahma Sutra is the key to the Mandukya Upanishad. Because many times people say, I don't understand at all. Initially, it's easy to understand the 12 mantras, but the depth of the Mandukya Upanishad, you can only understand when you understand adhyasa. But today, I think I have made some progress, and you will be able to appreciate this. The pure consciousness without adhyasa is my real nature. The consciousness with the adhyasa, which is ajnana avastha, which is when I am in the ignorant state. Like when the dreamer is ignorant about the waker, he thinks that the dream is very real. In the dream, very real. Similarly, in the waking, nobody can say that the waking is unreal because we are in the waking state, in the ajnana state. In the waking state, in the ajnana state, we are trying to rise above to the jnana state, jnana avastha. And that comes only by the study of the scriptures. And the moment the study becomes clear, jnana, in the jnana avastha, I can clearly say this dream and the waking together are very similar. In the ajnana sleep state, it doesn't even exist because that ajnanam is gone. No more ajnanam exists for me. For Vedanta, there is no more ajnanam, though no more sleep state. Sleep state is ajnana state. That is gone. I am always in jnana state, which is the Turiya. This is how we progress in the study of Mandukya Upanishad. I'll go back to where we stopped last week. And we stopped here. In the second topic, we have finished. This is that Satyam and Mithya, which I wanted to explain to you. So far, I've explained to you the Padatrayam, the three states are Mithya, and Turiyam is the real nature, which is Satya. So topic number 3 is from verse number 19 to 29. And here, in the second chapter. And here what we are studying is, what are the misconceptions born because of the Turiyam ignorance? Now you will be able to understand the ignorance of Chaitanya. Because I don't know, I am of the nature of pure consciousness, what are the misconceptions? I miss that Turiyam nature as reality. Because I miss that, adhyasa then takes place. Different people, different philosophers, they take different things as reality then. A scientist will say anything which is outside is real, experienced is real. Then there are charvakas who says the body is only real because body is what I am, Atma. Some people will say mind is real. Some will say energy is real. Sankhya philosophers, Vaiseshika, Nyaya philosophers, they say Param Anu, especially Nyaya philosophers. Anu means atom. That means the whole world is nothing but atomic in nature. And the truth, Advaitam will say, Turiyam, observer, the consciousness is also called as the observer, the seer, the real seer. Without a seeing, knowing principle, this world is as good as not there. So that knowing principle alone, if I can hold on to as my real nature, then I am Turiyatma. So God, the ultimate reality, is the I, the subject, but it is initially presented as an object so that we all are able to understand and reach that ultimate principle. This God will be unreal if it is drishyam, seen. Vishnu in Vaikuntha, Father in heaven, Shiva in Kailasha, all objects are nothing but mithya. Anything which is seen according to Vedanta is mithya, a new category invented by Advaitim, appearance, like the shell on silver, silver on shell. Similarly, rope snake, mirage water, all these are very common examples used, dream example. These are all mithya examples, appearances. If I see a rope as rope, then there is no adhyasa. I'm seeing the reality. But if I see the rope as snake, that is what is called as adhyasa. I don't see Atma as Atma. When I see Atma as Atma, there's no adhyasa at all. That is what Vedanta, that is what Mandukya Upanishad is trying to make us understand. Remain as the Atma always. Don't forget the nature. Remembrance of your own nature gives you the peace of mind, the tranquility of mind, the absolute peace which we want in life. Comes straight away by remembering our nature, Turiyam nature. That is what is the goal in this Upanishad. In Keno Upanishad, there is a very beautiful verse in chapter 1, 5th verse. What one cannot feel with the mind, yen manasa na manute ena pur manomatham tadeva brahmatom vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Those who have understood, who have learned the Keno Upanishad will remember this beautiful verse. What the mind cannot feel, or what one cannot feel with the mind, because the source of the mind is Atma. So the effect will never know its cause. What the eyes cannot see, eyesight is an effect. The cause of that is this pure light of Atma. So that which cannot be seen by the eyes, felt by the mind, thought by the intellect, that is this pure Turiyam I. And knowing this Turiyam I can drop the superimposition that I am this body or mind. Then the fourth topic is the last concluding topic of the second chapter. It says, I am Upasamhara, that means conclusion. I am the observer Turiyam. I am Satyam. Whatever I experience is the seen world, which is the waking world, dream world, and the sleep world. And those are all called as mithya. It means appearance, like the reflection in the mirror. In consciousness, the mind, each one of us has got a mind, and each one sees his own private world. If you are living in the US, you're seeing your own private world. I don't see your world because my mind is limited. Your mind is limited. You don't see my world, I don't see your world. If you're in India or London or wherever you are situated, you see your own private world, seen through your sense organs, seen through your mind. Your mind has got certain vrittis, but Atma is not located. Atma, the light behind that, is the same in you and me because it's all pervading. Nothing can be an obstacle for Atma. No distance, no time, nothing, because it is timeless, it is spaceless. This is the nature of Atma. What is the advantage of this knowledge? Mithya can't affect Satya. This is a very important point. Mithya means appearance. A dream appearance cannot affect the waking world. You may have lost a lot of money, but nothing happens to your richness in the waking. So many things would have happened in dream, but it is untouched by the waking world. Similarly, everything which I experience in the waking world, when I rise to the level of Turiyam, the Turiyam being a higher nature, like the waker for the dreamer, the Turiyam nature, which is the pure consciousness, without adhyasa, without any superimposition, I am now able to realize, and I can say with reference to that consciousness, I am Satya. Satya means no more saying that I was born, I will have death, nothing. I am beyond death, I am beyond birth. Najayate mriyate va kadachit, 20th verse of Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, is the truth for me now, because I have understood Mandukya clearly. Observed universe can't touch the Turiyam, therefore I am ever free from any problems, any sorrow in the universe cannot touch Atma. So here Turiya means it is not Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Vishwa means the waker, Taijasa means the dreamer, Prajna means the sleeper. From the own world point of view, from the waker's point of view, their world is real. From the dreamer's point of view, the dream is real. From the sleeper point of view, all of us can still say very happily, I had a good sleep. Nothing wrong with that. That is when I am in Ajnana Avastha. The moment I put on the cap of Mandukya Upanishad, I will know how to negate it, because I have understood Adhyasa. No more superimposition. I can remain as independent Turiyam Brahma, Turiyam consciousness. I have the right to say the world is unreal only after claiming I am Turiyam, not as a waker, not as a dreamer. I, the Turiyam, am ever free from samsara. Samsara means the cycle of birth and death, the cycle of time and space. Whenever you experience the body and mind, it will always be in time and space. Think about it. The moment I identify with the body, immediately time and space will come. When I'm not in identification with the body, no time and space. Sleep state, remember sleep state, no identification, no adhyasa, no ignorance. I am ever free Turiya. Once you negate the world, then you can use the word mithya. So the real world with reference to body and mind does not exist. And that is the 4th topic. The 5th topic is the sadhanas and phalam. And okay, I will quickly try to see if I can finish this 5th topic. Sadhanas and phalam means when I have this knowledge, what is the benefit? And what are the sadhanas, the disciplines I should follow in order to get this knowledge? Sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. That means everybody will know what is sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. That means I have the disciplines. Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. These are the 4 basic qualifications in Tattvabodha we have learned. And all the Shraddha, Bhakti, Samadhanam, all the qualifications required are what is called as sadhanas, disciplines to have. Once I have this disciplines, I get the knowledge, and then I can have the benefit is what? I enjoy the freedom. I don't have any attachment with the mind, I can happily drop my emotions at any time. Anger comes, anger will go. I know how to come out of anger now because I know what is adhyasa. Similarly, I know my emotions. I want to get out of my emotions, I will drop it instantly. A jnani is one who can drop his emotions in a split second. Close his eyes, knows that he is pure Turiya. In the second chapter, there's a very beautiful verse which I've mentioned here. Vedanta Shravanam. The people who are jnanis, they are without fear and anger because they are established in the truth of Turiya. They are not affected by their own imaginations or from the illusions born out of the world. They know the whole experience of the waking, dream, and sleep is a type of an illusion. And it is eternally non-dual. Prapancho upashamam advayam. This verse here, prapancho upashamam, this is the main verse based on which the entire chapter is called as prapancho upashamam. In the wake of knowledge, the entire three worlds, waking, dream, and sleep, they are resolved. Therefore, in Turiyam, we can easily say there is no world whatsoever. It alone stands by itself as Satya Atma. In the 36th verse of the Karikas, after realizing the Turiyam, it says you should do Nididhyasanam. You should remove your wrong notions that I am the body, I am the mind, all that you drop off. The only one thing you should remember is I am a sentient being. I am not inert like a chair. I am pure awareness. Always, whenever you want to know your true nature, compare yourself with a chair or a table or a wall. Does the chair or a table or a wall know itself? No. But I know myself. And that is what is called as consciousness. I am aware. So be alert to this awareness all the time. Then you will drop adhyasa. This is a trick. Be alert to your nature of pure awareness, sentient being, knowingness, existence, consciousness. All these are just words trying to describe only one entity, which is you. In this you, there is no adhyasa. The moment I look at the world outside, adhyasa starts. Because I'm identified with the body, through the body, I start seeing the world. Adhyasa has begun. Therefore, there will be superimpositions. You carry on with the superimpositions during the Vyavahara state. No harm at all, but with knowledge. That is what it means. The sage who has gone above praise and salutations, he has Atma as his support all the time. He doesn't depend on anything else for his daily living. In the sense that he has full Shraddha in that Turiyam Atma. And with that pure awareness, he lives throughout his life. He is not one. His physical needs will anyway be taken care of because the body is given by God. That God principle puts the five elements together. The mind comes into this body. This is all the play. This is all designed by intelligent principle called as God. It is the same God which is giving us this knowledge of Turiyam Brahma. That is, God is telling us, this is my nature. O Jiva, you are identified with this body. Drop this identification, come and merge with me. That is your real nature. By following the sadhanas, one is established in this knowledge. This is said in the 38th verse. One is able to externally drop the outer world and become one with the reality. And this gives him Niratishaya Sukham. That means unbroken happiness. It is always there because you are now aware of this pure I. Even when I'm transacting with the world, I remain transcendent. I know because I am the pure Atma without any adhyasa. I'm never away from the knowledge of Turiyam Brahma. This is the beautiful part of this second chapter, and we will continue with the third chapter next week. To summarize, two words were used in the seventh mantra, Prapancha Upashamam and Advaita. Prapancha Upashama means Prapancha Vaitatyam, unreality of the Prapancha. In the third chapter, we'll discuss Advaitam, which is another very important word. So the Prapancha can be understood in different ways. In the Mandukya Upanishad, we use the term Vishwa, Virat, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna, Ishvara. 6 factors are there for Prapancha. Prapancha can also be used for gross body, subtle body, causal body, and their objects. The gross body has the Virat as the object. The subtle body has got the dream objects, and the causal body has got the ignorance as an object. So 3 bodies have 3 objects. That is another way to understand Prapancha. Prapancha means the world. Then 3 padas. Prathama pada, Dvitiya pada, Tritiya pada. First pada is the waking, second pada is the dream, third pada is the sleep. We can understand the Prapancha in these 3 padams, and another way to understand is that the first 2 padas are Karyam and the third pada is Karanam. That means the sleep state is the Karanam, the cause, and the dream and the waking is the Karyam, effect. So with this, we finished the second chapter of Mandukya Upanishad. Very, very important chapter. Very, very difficult chapter, because this is the most troubling of all the chapters. This is in all the entire Upanishadic literature. Brahma Satyam we can all understand. Jagat Mithya is where we have trouble. If you can follow this second chapter very clearly, you can go through the Karikas yourself. You can go through these talks, and the more you learn about the superimposition adhyasa, like I discussed very, very deeply in this second chapter introduction, I'm quite confident you all will have a good appreciation of the second chapter now. Next week, we will go into the third chapter, starting from this slide. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So now, in case you have any questions, you can ask me. So you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. Okay, I have a few things here. No sound for me, not sound. Oh,
that was just in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, now it's okay. I mean, you could hear the talk, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Yes, yes, Shama, tell me.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I just, because the first time I've actually done, while, especially when you were giving a summary and recap of the previous, I was actually writing down notes.
Yeah.
Time, so that that was very good. And then, so I've just tried to, please correct me, I've tried to take some take-home points, yeah?
Yes.
And so please correct me. So today it is like, I see you yourself as, believe it or not, as an optician, okay? Optician who's giving prescription glasses, okay? Yeah, and which is to basically jnana chakshu, yeah? So that's what, which the beauty of it is you can quickly pick it up and wear it and walk about, you know? So that's really, in my wakeful state, I actually decide, I wake up to so many things, so many cells of mine, which my body and mind tells me, but then I remind myself, let me wear my glasses as well, you know?
Yes.
Glasses of being aware of my, you know, the consciousness principle, my real nature, yeah? So that's my take home point, yeah? The other analogy is from the karma point of view, you know?
Yes.
That from the knowledge point of view, in my waking state, if I just become simply the witness, then I can actually literally enjoy this eternal Broadway show, you know?
Yeah.
Is the whole of the world plus myself as well inside it. I can even cry or laugh, knowing all the while that this is the most wondrous movie that I can watch, you know? So really, literally, even although I'm seeing myself, so that is the one, you're watching the movie. And then just before going to bed, I can actually see that I'm in the green room, you know?
Yes.
Green room behind the stage. And no longer am I playing the actor's role. I have put off all my mask. Yeah. And I'm back again to be myself, the Turiya self, you know, just before I actually go into my sleep and Turiya state. So that's really just my take home points from it. Where, when I'm awake, where my jnana chakshu, and also just believe I'm in this actor role. But in that, I have to do my role very well, because as an actor, I have to believe this Jagat is Satya as well.
Yes, you have to do that. Yes, 100%.
So that I can do my role very, very well.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, oh, Jagat Mithya. No.
Yes. In the waking state, you have to be a waker.
Yeah.
You cannot delineate yourself as a waker. Don't do that, because many people make that mistake.
Yes, yes, which is a very, you're neither here nor there. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So while as an actor, I must be a good actor, play the role as per the script given in the scriptures, but with special reference to my prarabdha state of my time and space. That is, the Kurukshetra for me at this time is not like Arjuna's, but it's still a Kurukshetra and I still have a battle, but it's my own individual script. So therefore, I have to reference this to this particular one.
Yes.
And so pure consciousness, of course, you've explained, it is without the adhyasa, and that's my real. So it's, that's why I say that it's been most glorious. And the last bit, which I actually have shared, be alert to the awareness of the true self, the Atman, full faith in the Turiyam state.
Yes.
Quite in the knowledge that the body and mind, so that's my knowledge, that the body and mind which you identify is not you.
Yes.
And listen to me, O Jiva.
Yeah.
What you were saying, Jiva, look at my resplendent states that illumines the whole world. Why would you not come and claim that what is yours, true nature? Why must you accept the world of Maya? It might glitter, but know that it is not gold. If you must be a slave, I'm actually talking to myself. If you must be a slave and bound, bind yourself to the great master who runs this entire show. Desirous of the world, you are choosing to swallow your own spit. How can that taste good? You know, Is it just like really you're spitting it and you're swallowing it yourself? That's really what you have been doing so far. Taste the real rasa of the ultimate Satchit Ananda. So that's really, yeah. So this is where you have taken, and of course the meditation was wonderful. Be not affected, asangoham, asangoham. As you were going, actually, I was pre-reading what you're going to say next. That is asangoham. Fantastic. Thank you. So I've finished.
Well done, Shama. I think your real self of being a poet is now slowly coming out. You know, you're
loving it. I'm simply loving it.
Very good. It's your own true feelings. You see, this is what happens, that you discover some things which you have never discovered before.
I never knew. Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of Mandukya Upanishad.
Thank you for my glasses.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Deepak, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I think Shamaji has said very beautifully and eloquently. Summed up this whole class so beautifully. I just have some clarification in terms of my own understanding. The world and its three states appear in consciousness. Because of Ajnana, I see, and the adhyasa, I see this world as real.
Yes.
In its three states.
Exactly, you're right.
And it is, I don't achieve Turiyam. I don't reach Turiyam. I am Turiyam.
Yes.
I think that's a very important point.
Yeah, in the Jnana Avastha. In the Jnana Avastha.
In the Jnana Avastha,
yes.
I have to, Jnana Avastha, I am
yes.
Turiyam.
Yes.
And so that's one part. The second part is this, I understand the waker and the waking world, that when I am awake, the waker and the waking world are the pairs. I see the world. When I'm sleeping, I don't see the world. So the world in all the stages is there. So the moment you wake, you see the world. When you're not awake, you don't see the world.
Correct.
But the relationship between the two jivas, because I am Turiyam, therefore Shama is also Turiyam, and therefore Shama and I are one. How do you explain that? I'm not able to understand that part I've understood that while I'll negate this world is adhyasa, the world appears in consciousness, it dissolves in consciousness. I am, consciousness is the only constant in the three states. But there is this person called Shama, and I and
My
Shama are
grandson
one.
put a bag there yesterday, garbage bag. You saw?
How do I
There
look?
outside.
I have understood my relationship with with the world.
Okay.
But relationship with the other jiva as one.
Okay, here I'll interrupt you. When you say Shama, are you giving the name Shama to the body or to the body and form or to the Atma?
No, so the question, yes, to the body, obviously, the body and form. That's the form.
He has got a name, it's got a form, it is but the Atma doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a location, it doesn't have a form.
So
you can relate your Atma with her Atma because it's one all-pervading Atma.
So the analogy is of the space.
Yes, the space is all-pervading, but the contents, that means suppose you are looking at an object in space, then you have a name and form.
So therefore the forms are many like gold and bangle, but the source is one. Is that the only analogy? That's the only analogy.
Okay,
because that's the question which a lot of people ask me. You say, but you know, I mean, I understand your relationship to the world. What about
this is one.
What about your wife, for example, or whatever, you know?
There is a very the 10th person. The 10th person.
The 10th person. Yes, you're right. That's another good analogy.
Should I add something?
Yeah, can you answer his question?
Yes, I can answer.
Okay, go ahead.
See, because this Kayakarni I heard earlier, and now we are just repeating once again. So, but I could see things which were not clear, few things, you know, how it disappears. So this is what I really understand when we had today's discussions. So two important factors, what is said in this particular verse 7 is Prapanchopasham and Advaita. So this Prapanchopashamam is like what you have all explained, everything and all is totally is Adhyasa. And Advaita is the word which deals with the knowledge. So knowledge is the state of Jnana and Ajnana. So if we just analyze individual states, what is happening is sleep state, we are no Adhyasa, but at the same time we don't have the Jnana. We are state of Ajnana.
Yes.
And if we take a waking state, what is happening is, we'll keep it question mark, waking state, less time being. Dream state, we are in Adhyasa. And obviously there is no knowledge also. So both are absent. So what is happening is, in the waking state, we are having an Adhyasa. At the same time, we are having a partial knowledge. Because we always wonder, actually, in a sleep state, there is no Adhyasa, so why I am not able to know my consciousness? And waking state, we always have a question that I have a knowledge, I am not body, I am not mind, but why I am not able to get enlightened? So in waking state, what is happening is basically the Adhyasa is so much superimposition is there. The knowledge what we are having, it is not enough to take over that Adhyasa.
Unless you wear the glasses.
Yes, you wear the glasses, you're clear.
So what is happening is basically by listening to some extent only, we are getting away from the Adhyasa. So it requires more and more Mananam, more and more Nididhyasa. Why this continuous Nididhyasa is required? Continuous Mananam is required because now it is very clear that we cannot be enlightened, we cannot get away from that Adhyasa in the sleep state and the dream state, because sleep state, what is happening is Adhyasa is there, but there is no knowledge. No Adhyasa, but there is no knowledge. It's a state of Ajnana. So we will not be able to know, even we are with the consciousness. Waking state, because of the partial knowledge, we are not able to conquer this Adhyasa. So it requires more Mananam and more Nididhyasa to get over that scenario. So these two are the combinations, like earlier what we are trying to know is only having a knowledge actually, but we think we have a knowledge, but that supreme position we are not able to avoid. So that Vyavaharika is so much dominating, the karma, loss of karma is so much dominating with the body and mind. So that partially is always there. So the journey is having this partial knowledge to full knowledge by which we can remove this adhyasa in the waking state. This is what exactly in this verse 7, Prapancho Shivam Advaita, both are very, I mean, these two things are, it appears they go hand in hand. Just go hand in hand. See, sometimes I realize that, okay, whenever you're seeing the screen or you're seeing some movie or anything, so when you're in a state of adhyasa, you are along with those characters. So the sorrowness and the joy, pleasure, everything, whatever is happening in the screen, momentarily you feel. But the moment you realize that you are watching the screen, nothing is real, they're all characters. So your observation, your feeling, your sensations, everything will differ actually. So that is what, I mean, this, earlier also we had a lot of discussion on this, and this chapter 2 I feel is extremely important to get over this adhyasa. Adhyasa is which has to be, see, nothing can be done in the sleep state, though we are without adhyasa because there is no knowledge, so nothing can be done. But in the waking state, the most biggest culprit is this adhyasa, which has to be conquered through the knowledge. This is what is Advaita. So the Dvaitam becomes Advaita when this knowledge takes over the adhyasa. That's what I felt I should share, and also I hope you agree with me that.
Yeah, that's fine, Venkatesh. So it's good. You also summarized what we have studied today. Deepak, to your question about the how do I see so many different atmas when see, that's a direct question you have. This is a very, very valid question. Many Nyaya philosophers, they also had the same theory like what you are saying, that how can there be so many atmas? You see, in Brahma Sutra, this is very, very beautifully analyzed. I don't have the time to go through that analysis, but basically to just inform you that whenever you look and you say there are many atmas, whenever you talk about atma, you should use the scripture as the guiding force to know what is atma. Don't use your eyesight. Don't use your what you see, because eyes cannot know what is atma. You see, your eyes will only see the body. Your eyes can only see what are the features in this world. It cannot know Atma. The Upanishad says there is one Atma, Advaita. You have to have full faith in the Upanishad and say, whatever the Upanishads say about Atma, I believe. Shraddha.
So
your answer is that I believe what the Upanishads are saying, that there is Eka Atma, Advaita Atma. My mind may say something, my intellect may something, but I will not believe in it. So these are the thoughts in your mind, but you have to say this is the mind's projection of the world, which is Mithya. Whereas the Satya Atma is revealed by the scriptures as Satyam, which is my real nature. I accept it and then I analyze the world.
I'm very clear on this, and I have, after listening to your lecture, especially your lectures over the last year or two, I actually and generally feel, and I've been telling a lot of people, that Upanishad is the revealed scripture, should never be taken lightly and should never be spoken lightly.
Yes.
That the more faith that you give in Upanishad, the more it reveals to you. And I am actually experiencing that. And I'm sure so are the others.
Absolutely. That's correct.
The more you have trust in it,
yes.
sort of removes this veil. So I am completely in agreement. And I initially, when you used to say this, Acharya ji, I actually felt that that is a very wrong thing to say, because, you know, why we should always be very critical and we must be analytical and we should never trust a scripture, or for any reason, any scriptures, you know, because scriptures, you know, have got a lot of things written.
Yes.
But over a period of time, when I speak to people, I do tell them that the starting point is that these are not ordinary text.
Yes.
These are revealed text. Sorry, Shama, you wanted to say something?
No, just to, I forgot to respond to Deepak ji's answer. So like, Shekhar ji, like what we had discussed earlier during Brahma Sutra and some other Upanishads and all, if we take sun and below, if we put a different pots of water, yes, then we will see the different reflections. So the consciousness is only one. And the reflection of the various objects, what do you see, depending on the surface of the water?
That was my next question.
Yeah, this is, you remember, there used to be a lot of questions to Shekhar ji.
I was going to ask this question that you have not talked about the Chidabhasha in this explanation. You're talking about Dhyasa, but where is the Chidabhasha, or the reflected consciousness? As Venkatesh is saying.
So Deepak, is that your second question?
No, so what I'm taking off from what Venkatesh is saying, I'm saying that we have, in this session today, we have talked more on the superimposition part.
Yes.
But we haven't seemed to have spoken on the Chidabhasha. So it has that object.
Chidabhasa is the reflected consciousness in the mind.
In the mind.
First thing which happens is that Chidabhasa.
Yeah.
Before even the Adhyasa comes, Chidabhasa is first formed.
How
Chidabhasa, Chit is your real nature as pure Turiya. Pure consciousness, which you can never experience. Experience requires mind.
Okay, so two stages. First, the moment I see, it is Chidabhasha.
Yes, the first thing is Chidabhasa.
And what I see then as real is Adhyasa.
Yes, what I mistake is Adhyasa.
Mistake. Okay, done. So it's a two-stage.
Yes, Chidabhasa is formed automatically. The first step, which is in a split second, it happens.
Okay.
You see, how does the dreamer become a waker? In a split second, he comes to know this knowledge that I am a waker. So similarly, the waker, the moment he comes to know that the Turiyam, because Turiyam, you can know in the waking state by imagining what happens to you when you wake up. When you wake up, the first thing is, I am the pure consciousness. Now I get reflected. That is what is Chidabhasa. The Chidabhasa is formed where? In the mind. The locus of Chidabhasa is the mind. And the Chidabhasa will come only when the mind is there. Chidabhasa and mind are always together.
Yeah.
So the moment Chidabhasa comes, you have already got Adhyasa. Because the mind is there.
So there are two sides of a coin.
Exactly. Chidabhasa and the Adhyasa are the two sides. The same Chidabhasa is called as Adhyasa. Because without Adhyasa, there is no transaction in the world. Always remember, no transactions, zero. That means throughout the day, I am having Adhyasa and I am transcending. You see, for example, I take myself as the body, and when the body is, for example, the legs are moving towards the office or going to a hospital. I say, I am going to the hospital because I have taken the body as me. It is automatic in the waking state. The transactions are all happening in Adhyasa. What Shankaracharya is saying is there is a method in Vyavahara itself, you can remove the Adhyasa by knowledge.
By knowledge.
Jnanam avastha, you know that you are the Turiya. Ajnana avastha, you know you are the body mind. Ajnana avastha is all transactions, Vyavahara. Jnana avastha, you put on the knowledge, immediately you can remove your adhyasa. Split second, exactly like how waking to dream. Because you see, your mind recognizes your real nature. In a split second, you can say that I can drop my adhyasa. That is what happens to all the jnanis. Suppose you also become a jnani, you can drop the adhyasa in a split second and say, you know what, this is I know who I am, but I know I am transacting like this right now because I cannot say why I am transacting like this, because there are many factors. The law of karma has got so many factors. Okay, yeah, Shama, you wanted to add? 1 minute. I need somebody. Shamuna, yeah. Can you unmute yourself?
No, I'm just so happy that I've now found the name for the glasses which I wanted to wear, which is of Chidabhasa. So if I forget, I suddenly can't see well, you see?
Yes,
So
yes.
if I have it, and what is even more beautiful is when you actually you see things so crystal clear, you know, you're not thrown into these waves of sukha and dukkha. The experience also is very different if you're wearing these glasses.
That's correct.
Of the world. And just one last little point, which I've only discovered in the last 2 weeks, since you gave me the permission to gain knowledge elsewhere, you see.
Yeah, please share your knowledge, what you're gaining from your research onto.
I'm so happy. And what I sometimes feel, which is a big problem, probably not so much for men, but definitely for women, because we tend to live largely in an emotional world, you know, so our experience, our knowledge is literally being measured at the emotional level. Mind is the higher intellect, you know, so it's almost like the Manomaya Kosha, hardly going into the Buddhi, you know, the Vijnanamaya Kosha. It doesn't go to that realm because you're stuck only in this Manomaya Kosha, which I think of it as largely emotional world. And what is sad, and there is actually a condition described as, it's called Alexithymia. And it is described mainly for men, actually. Quite often it is, they're very, very intelligent people, but they just don't have an emotional language. It's not autism. It just isn't there. So they're not even aware of their own feelings. And by likewise, they cannot be aware of other people's feelings. So this is almost like an absent emotional language. So that's an absent one. But I'm talking here about how you can have a mistaken emotional language. And now that I have left it very clear because I wear my glasses, I actually can look at my emotional field of my experience and say, oh, really? Okay, is that so? You know, so because I actually am asking myself question, what does that mean? Say, if I'm feeling sad, I ask myself, so what does that mean? Why and what? And then suddenly I realize it has no meaning. Can you see that?
Yes.
Just, I've decided to wear my glasses.
That's correct. It's good.
But not to ignore the emotional language. That's the plea which I'm making. Because most of us, we are trapped in that. Maybe not so much for men, but women is a very strong part of our lives, you know, because we just are having to play many, many more roles. It's just really how the society and culture has made it, you know, from the day one, we are struggling to live, you know, life of a daughter, the mother, the wife, and this and that, so many selves, you know, that it all gets into a muddle. So I'm very much in a warrior state right now.
No, but it's good. It's good observation, Shama, because I will come back to you again. The same thing, please understand, for all senior students, the moment you understand adhyasa, the superimposition, it is a tremendous benefit to understand your own self.
Absolutely.
You know, and your own emotions, you can easily understand if you know adhyasa.
Absolutely.
So to anybody who wants to teach Vedanta, I would say that after Tattva-bodha, you should spend a little bit time on understanding adhyasa, because that removes a lot of confusions in life. You see, especially you talk adhyasa with reference to how I described adhyasa coming in from a pure non-adhyasa state to an adhyasa state of waking or dream or sleep. So if you have understood that portion between non-adhyasa state of Turiyam and adhyasa state of waking, dream and sleep, then you have got you can deal with anything in life.
And in the world of psychology, what is fascinating is that very, very brief momentary while some scientists, artists, these people like Ramanujan, you actually go into this nirvikalpa state, and suddenly the knowledge, because they themselves feel surprised to describe it, like Ramanujan, nobody understood him in the Cambridge University, where he was coming out with his formula. When they said, how did you arrive at it? He said, I don't know, it just came. But that is, they're describing the word as a flow state. It's such a powerful reading as to how the more purified your brain becomes. Drop all your adhyasa. I'm now translating that basically our adhyasas are our obstacles, you know, they're constantly blocking our vision. And so it's a real plea that we can, even whatever field we are working in, things get much more clearer. I'll stop shut now.
Okay. Yeah, Rohit, you have a question?
Yes, Shekharji. The adhyasa, is that a concept used to help in the negation of the word, basically in the Jagan Mithya aspect of?
Yes, it does. It is a concept built to negate the word. You're right.
Could you elaborate a little more on when you said earlier about adhyasa is essential for the day-to-day transactions of our transactions in the waking state?
Yeah, because you see, what happens is the Atma is there and Anatma is there. Anatma means the body and mind and the sense organs. You're using your organs of action. Now, there has to be a holder of the body. In order for the body to move, there has to be a subject.
Right.
There has to be an operator of this body. That operator comes only by adhyasa. You see, this body is inert by nature. Now, suppose it gets a sentiency by itself, that itself is not enough. So there has to be that ego I, has to be formed who will drive the body or who will use the sense organ. The user of the sense organs and the user of the organs of action is the one which is formed due to adhyasa.
So it's just to recognize the...
And actually, when we reverse the direction, you negate the body, negate the sense organs, negate the world, and then you come to your own ego, and then you say, I am going back to my original Turiyam nature by dropping the ego. I drop the adhyasa and go back to my original nature of Turiyam. I put on from Turiyam, I can come back to the world by using adhyasa. So always adhyasa is the turning point. Now you get it, right?
Yes.
You enter the body with adhyasa, you leave the body with adhyasa. You drop the adhyasa, you can leave the body. You enter adhyasa, you can enter the body and all the transacting world. So you can remain, what happens is once you have understood these two principles, that I have, as Atma, I have the flexibility to get in, and as Atma, I have a flexibility to move out also in the sleep state. In the sleep state, what is that power? That power is called as Maya.
But do we drop, is it considered as dropping adhyasa in the sleep state?
It is, because you see what happens is you're dropping your adhyasa to your gross body. Now
so it doesn't have to be a deliberate, this dropping doesn't need to be a deliberate.
It happens by nature. That is what is called as Prakriti. Tamoguna, by Tamoguna, the sleep comes. And Tamoguna belongs to Prakriti Maya. That Maya principle is the one which drops the adhyasa of the gross body and the subtle body. It clings on to the causal body in sleep. And what you are trying to know by the study of scriptures, what you are trying to come to know is this Maya which is holding on to Tamoguna, that also is a adhyasa. You would learn to drop it and say that that is also not my real nature. Okay. I am free from my sleep state is the final teaching. The sleep state is a state of ignorance. It's a pure state of pure, is nothing else but ignorance. I don't know anything. There is a vritti. That is why in some of the advanced texts, they say that sleep state is nothing but one vritti is there, one thought is there. And that thought is, it is a karana sharira vritti. It is different than the vrittis of the dream state. So the causal vritti is called as ignorance vritti. It's called as ajnana vritti. It belongs to the karana sharira. It does not belong to the sukshma sharira. The vrittis, normally we say it belongs to the mind, the intellect. That is what Tattvabodha teaches us. But when you want to study what is Atma, then the commentators, they introduce the Karana Sharira Vritti. They say that the sleep state is just a state of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Of Atma, not of the world. So so the feeling which is there, you uncover it. Therefore, what happens is you are there without the world. As in sleep state, there's no world. The only thing is that in the sleep state, there is ignorance, ajnanam. That ajnanam is what you remove with the help of jnanam. The antidote for ajnanam, antidote for light is, for darkness is only light. Unless you bring light, you cannot remove darkness. By doing karma, you cannot remove darkness. You have to bring, so similarly for ignorance, the only way is knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of Atma, the one which exists without any, independently without anything. That is the spiritual light. Once you come to know of the spiritual light, the existence of that through the scriptures, anytime you can drop the world. You can say that I am that pure consciousness because you have learned it. You have learned it in Mandukya Upanishad, how to drop adhyasa, how to take on adhyasa. Okay, so actually this adhyasa bhashyam is very, very intense and very difficult to teach because it's all in Sanskrit. You see, it's a complete text of Shankaracharya in Sanskrit in the beginning of Brahma Sutra. You will find it in the net anytime. You can go and see. It's all in Sanskrit. How he describes adhyasa, the superimposition. And there's a lot of depth of analysis. Like Shama is talking about so much of depth in psychology, the same depth you will find in this Shankara Bhashya. And you see, when you understand the depth of adhyasa, then everything becomes clear. Because Shankaracharya's main tool by which he could defeat all his opponents, because you see, for him everything was easy because he had only one tool to fight with everybody. He said, "Know Atma and be Atma." So everything else for him was nothing else except pure consciousness. If anybody brought another point, he could easily see the problem in them, because he had no adhyasa between himself and the body, mind, and the world. And he used that as the main teaching. To teach the Upanishads and to teach the Brahma Sutra, he used adhyasa bhashyam. So anyway, I have introduced that pretty well today, but I will try to keep telling you about adhyasa even in Advaitam next chapter also. We'll discuss this a little bit more deeper. And anyway, it's been a very good session. I mean, this Mandukya has never been, I mean, the amount of, the exchange between the students here, who are all studying together is amazing. I can see that, there's questions after questions, it never stops. Yeah, Shama?
Is it possible to get your meditation audio file somehow?
It is there in the website. It is being sent every week
as the audio file. I haven't looked actually.
Only audio file.
Yeah. So you of course have the written part, which is very good.
No, not written part. I don't have. I have a video of which I send every week along with my weekly.
It's on YouTube.
YouTube video.
It's on YouTube.
What I'm asking is,
but I'm also circulating on WhatsApp.
Whether it can be just simply, say for instance, like if I want to just use only the audible part, the meditation, because actually to use that as a guided meditation for my daily practice, that's what I'm trying to see.
But if you're on, Rohit, are you getting the WhatsApp video of meditation?
Yes.
Okay.
So
it's a YouTube video, but if you want to just get the audio part,
so Shama, you can use that
websites on the
So what you're saying is actually, yeah, you're right. It is a YouTube. What you want is just audio of that instead of having a YouTube.
Yeah, which is then you actually using it for that particular purpose only, that you're actually.
But does anybody else like to have it also? Because do you think it will help?
Useful, because it's so powerful that I think it's just best that really when you have something so explicit, I wasn't putting my mind, I'll confess, I wasn't putting my mind in so well properly. That is almost like the field must be ready before, you can plant whatever.
No, we can send it to you. There's no problem.
Actually, there are plenty of websites that allow you to just convert YouTube videos into audio. If you just Google them, YouTube to MP3 or something, and all you need to do is paste the YouTube URL over there. And then you can just download it as an MP3 file and play it wherever. You just have to Google it, like YouTube to MP3. It's brain dead simple. Yeah, a lot of people do that for music.
Yeah, Shama is not technically so qualified, Rohit.
Rohit, try it for us.
No, don't worry. It's okay. I will ask. There's no problem. I'll ask Shanmugam to send it to you by audio. There's no problem. So that the audio is easy. It's quite easy. We can just send it to you by audio. No problem.
Yeah.
If you're in a hurry, then you can just do this.
Yeah. I just have one last question. I know it's getting very late, but we can discuss this next time. I just wanted to understand that in this particular philosophy, and I have again, I do get people asking me this specific question. We find that both in Tibetan Buddhism and in Kashmir Shaivism, there are visualizations and mysticism, more contemplative kind of a process. The Advaita Vedanta doesn't seem to sort of give too much emphasis on any of these processes. Yes. It seems much more relatively drier as an approach. Are you saying that at any point Shankara never talked about siddhis and those mystical aspect. Even Christianity has a very strong contemplative mystical process of being one with this consciousness that we call Turiya. See, eventually all faiths have gone back. There is a Turiya. Whether the Atma is there, not Atma.
Yeah.
Finally, they all have saying this one consciousness.
See, Shankaracharya's, Deepak, Shankaracharya's main goal was to reveal the Upanishads. So he knew a lot about mysticism. He knew a lot about siddhas because he was a siddha himself, you know.
Yes.
He was a great siddha himself. From what I have learned from many Swamijis like Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Dayananda Saraswati and all that, what they say is in the process of your reaching the final goal, your siddhis will come to you, but you try not to give heed to that.
Okay. So I've heard that.
They will become an obstacle for you.
Okay.
So what Shankaracharya said was, in the yoga philosophy, they give a lot of benefit to the siddhis. They say, yes, you follow this, you will, you follow this mantra, you will have this siddhi form. There are different tantric aspects to it.
Kundalini awakening and all that.
Yeah. But main thing is, to answer directly your question, Shankaracharya's main goal was to reveal that you are the pure self, in which there is no imaginations, you are pure awareness. The moment you bring imaginations, any other form, you are with adhyasa.
Direct knowledge.
You see, he wants to reveal what Upanishads are trying to say. Upanishad, see, you have to always remember, Upanishad is an I for Atma, E-Y-E. That is the only I for Atma. Which can reveal Atma. So he is only trying to reveal what the Upanishad is saying, pure awareness. And any other things which you do is anatma for him. Everything else is anatma. He says, yes, they do exist. According to him, siddhis, they do exist. Everything exists, but he says it is not the ultimate truth.
Where would again, this is completely digressing, but just one more. Where would you take Devis and Devtas and spirits in this philosophy? Where do they come in? Again, as objects?
Yes, they are all objects of awareness.
But they come to you.
Yes, they come to you. You will get a form. You see, there are many people who come and tell me, now I'm seeing Devi in my meditation.
And Tibetan Buddhism is full of it. I mean,
yes,
they get
the
insights of Tara, and Milarepa got the whole,
Yes, you see, these are all the siddhis which come to you when you get into this knowledge field.
But where does this reside?
It resides in the Chidakasha. It's not in your normal. They all reside in the causal, in the subtle body, as impressions, as memories, as impressions of some purva karmas. It is there. And they all will come. They will all come. The moment you become more and more trying to become aware, your mind it's like all the dirt which is there, In the causal body, each one of us is, very well that we have impressions in us. So these are all the impressions which will come. There are good impressions, there are bad impressions. The good impressions is Devi, form of Rama. I saw Rama yesterday in my dream. It came to me. They say, a lot of people say it. It is true. What Shankaracharya says is it's all there, but it is appearance.
Yeah.
You are the consciousness in which this appearance is coming and going. That Devi form, is it continuously there? No. The Devi form is gone. That light which you saw in meditation is gone, but the seer is still the same. That is what the focus on the pure consciousness as the awareness principle, which is always there. Turiya. Turiya means it's always there. Yesterday it was there, right now it is there. I'm aware, I'm listening to you. That awareness by which I'm listening to you or you are listening to me, that awareness has not changed.
So the Rishi Munis, the Rishis, the sages who got these revealed scriptures, how do they reconcile that there is an infinite wisdom coming through this mind-body equipment? So
in different forms, yeah.
That's it. That's it. It's as simple. When I am Turiyam, I am infinite wisdom.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it.
Just leave it there.
That's correct. You just leave it at that and say, I am the pure consciousness, and drop it. Try to learn to drop everything else.
So now what comes from that infinite space?
Yes, it comes from that infinite reality. It goes back and merges into the infinite reality.
It's fascinating.
It comes from there, it resolves into it. You must always remember that whatever you are experiencing, anything which you are experiencing is coming out from the same reality. It is the same truth. From where this is all coming, and then again it is resolving into the same truth. And I am that Advaita truth. That's it.
And it's just
Dvaitam exists in Advaitam.
Yeah, absolutely.
The entire waking state is Dvaitam. The dream state is Dvaitam. The sleep state is Dvaitam. All that they merge, and they merge into Advaita. I am that pure Advaitam principle, ever, always the same.
Adhyasa to knowledge.
Yes. Now this is called as Jnana Avastha.
And the way I understand Shekharji is that there is Vedanta is a more direct approach where you can consciously use your mind to explore.
Yes,
however,
Vedanta is always used with mind. You see, you cannot drop your mind. It's with a conscious mind, you are trying to analyze yourself.
Concentration and everything, all the willpower, everything at your command, you are actually doing that. However, what is fascinating for the human mind is that it does not negate the existence of other approaches, other paths, be it Vaishnavites, be it Shaktas or whatever.
Yeah, it accommodates everything.
What's most beautiful is just in one single search, I'm calling him a doctor. I don't know why I'm calling it a Ramakrishna Paramhamsa.
Yes.
In his one single lifetime, I don't know any other example where you find every aspect of the spiritual seeking, every aspect, the best of bhaktas, the best of jnanis. He had all the various gurus to actually show him all of this thing. So I actually find it's so fascinating that even amongst ourselves, if at a particular point of time, your mood is very much in a bhakti state, there's nothing wrong, just love it. That's really your mood. There are other times when, like early morning, you're so highly in your sattvika state, your Vedanta just flows into you. Other times I can't do it, so there is no negation, because I think that's a problem, where we can start splitting, and we have done that for a long time. But our Hinduism, therefore, is a most wonderful religion in that everything can coexist at the same time without any issues or sequentially. So yeah, so I love it, really. It's just so nice.
Okay, Shama, thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Sorry, we delayed you.
No problem. Thank you. It was a good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Bye.